YouTube, Beef Smokers back here with you, and today we've got a beef shoulder clod. Now, last night I went ahead and I used a binder on this. We used mustard, I used kosher salt, black pepper, and then one of my favorite barbecue rubs. I'll have the link to that barbecue rub linked down in the description below. Now, looks like a brisket. It is not. I trimmed and shaped this up. This was an 18-pound beef shoulder clod. I'm almost positive right now we're down to about 14 to 16 pounds. We're going to take this. This is the fat cap side, aka my presentation side. We're going to take this, smoke it using post oak wood. I assume this is going to take anywhere between 10, 12, 13, 14 hours. That's the reason I'm up pretty late, or up pretty early this morning cooking it. Stay tuned. I appreciate the love, the time, the care, the subs, the comments that you guys leave. Stick with me on this journey and let's see if we can get to the finished product. YouTube, got a nice fire started. I use Kingsford blueback charcoal. Can you see that? I got 2 splits. Today we're running with post oak. See what we're looking at. Again, no real color. I just put this large piece of meat on. Can you see that? Again, no real color yet. We're gonna let this roll. I won't be opening this again for the next 3.5 to 4 hours. Stay tuned. Alright, we're now approaching 4 hours. My temps are coming back up. Had to run an errand. While I was doing so, fire died down. Got another stick on there as we speak. Again, we're running. Post oak has a very sweet smell to it. So that's the way our beef shoulder clod is looking. I like the color, however, I need that thing to get a little bit darker before we even start discussing wrapping. We're gonna let this ride. Again, this is hour 4. Probably around hour maybe 7 or 8 or even 9 is when I'll probably be looking at wrapping, but ultimately it'll be when that color gets to where I like it. I have been spritzing these edges down here because it's closer to the fire. It's getting some of the direct heat. Early on I put me a blocking log in. I did go ahead and put water in the pan. Alright, so one thing I did not discuss, I did overnight brine this, right? So that salt, that pepper, and everything else overnight into my fridge. I find that I get a better bark when I do it that way. We're gonna let this ride. As you can see, we already got some shrinkage. I assume that it's gonna shrink even more. Stay tuned. Alright, we're at 8 hours. We're temping about 178. Most of you guys here that's been on the channel for a while know I rarely use thermometers. But for this, I don't have all night. I want to see where we're at so I can judge when to wrap or not. Now, I base that on the color of what I'm looking for. And once we get that color, then we're going to wrap. If I wasn't in a rush, then I wouldn't be wrapping at all. I like the bark that we've set. Again, the only thing I've been spritzing is this edge that's closest to the fire. That way. Still got my blocking log here. You can see some of it has been smoldering away. I've been spritzing that as well. I like the bark that we've got built up on this. It's got a few more degrees. I'm going to let it get to a little bit over 180, and then we're going to wrap, finish this thing off, get it back on here. Then we'll go from there. Stay tuned. Alright, Beef Smokers back in with you. Here's what we're looking like. So this is after 8 hours. You see we're barked up. This looks more like a pork butt than it does a piece of beef. Again, this is a piece of beef. However, I like the color that we have. We're going to move on from here. I got some beef tallow left over from a brisket cook. I think it's fitting, seeing as how we're cooking this much like a brisket. We're going to go in with some tallow. I do expect this to lighten the color. It's going to lighten the color of that bark up. This paper is going to make sure that we get some softness in this, because there are some edges, especially those edges that were facing that fire. We're gonna go ahead and get this all over. I don't mind if it gets in the bottom of this, because it's gonna hit the bottom of this piece of beef, and we're gonna make sure that everything is soft, instead of, because right now it's a bit barky, it's a bit crusted up, and that's fine. Really reminiscent of a pork butt, and I haven't done a pork butt in a while. All right, let's go ahead and get this wrapped up and back on the smoker. That's not gonna be perfect. So one other thing I could have did was spritz this paper down to make it a bit more pliable. I don't think that's necessary right now. All right, so we're gonna go and we're gonna fold it over. This will be fat cap down. Smells delicious. I want to make sure that it's tight. And we're gonna go one more time. That's going to be fat cap up. We're going to let this ride. And that's what we have. Stay tuned. I'll bring you guys back when I'm pulling this off to give it a rest. And we're going to slice into it and see what we got. I think it's going to be awesome. It smells good. We already got some tenderness. However, that's on the outside. I need to make sure that inside is quite tender. There was a fat seam line. I want to make sure that that fat internally is actually rendered. Stay tuned. YouTube, we back. Here's the finished product. Total cook time on this beef shoulder clod was 10 hours. I wrapped it in a cellophane wrap, and it's been setting covered with a towel in my microwave. That's only been about an hour. So total cook time, including the rest, was about 11 hours. Now, let's recap what we did. I had a 18-pound beef shoulder clod that I took out. I trimmed it, and so that it wouldn't take more than absolutely necessary in time, I was pretty extravagant on my trimming. I chased some of the gristle, got all that stuff out. If you didn't know, beef shoulder clod has several different cuts of beef in it. Sometimes cooking this can be tricky. You can get slices from this, or you can get pulled from this. However, what I'm going to do currently, I'm going to try and go for some slices. You can see my bark set up nicely. That's that salt, pepper, and then my favorite barbecue rub. We use mustard as a binder. All right, let's get to it. The actual cook on this was using post oak. Smells delicious. I'm going to go right down the middle. That fat cap rendered pretty nicely. Still got some heat coming off there. You guys see that steam? It's done through and through. That fat is actually rendered. Here it's still hot. So what I don't want to do is grab this and burn myself. It's got the consistency of a brisket. However, this is not brisket. However, this would make for a great brisket alternative. All right. I'm probably going to do several different recipes with this. However, kind of running out of daylight. So this video will be out here shortly, and then everything I make with this will be forthcoming. One of the things I like about this, especially this rendered fat, it's got a stickiness to it. You hear some people refer to it as brown sugar fat. It's definitely rendered. Let's see if we can get a few slices off. Still pretty hot. I probably could have let this rest a little bit longer. I think think the last time I did one of these, I actually turned into a pot roast. Okay, you see that? Maybe a bit thin on my slicing. However, my favorite portion is going to be the parts of this that actually have fat on it. Because this can be absolutely lean, that fat helps everything out and makes everything better. Now, I actually did cut a lot of fat off this as well. It's tender. The bark is actually perfect. There's a hint of saltiness. However, that fat is actually sweet. That's what happens when you properly render that fat. Now, I could have rested this a bit longer, and it'll be fine. I'll wrap it in some cellophane wrap, put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in my fridge, and probably the other half in the freezer until I'm ready to use it again. Other than that, definitely appreciate you liking, comments, and subscribing. Till next time, Beef Smokehouse out.